All right, let's check the microphone. Check, check the check, check. Check, check the check, check. Check. Okay, cool. Ooh. Man. You know, from here, we only get closer to next year's Masters. But we are as far away from it as we'll ever be. Let's see if we can't get this cup in frame here. Yeah, I mean, wouldn't it be nice to know if the putt goes in or not? That would be pretty cool. Then if we stand here, you can still see us hitting the putts. That's awesome. We will get this kind of more permanently figured out soon, hopefully. But yeah, just had quite the busy day. And was fortunate enough to make some time to go to the range, which was great. Beautiful day here in New England. For mid-April, and took advantage of it, and now trying to get a little more work done. Maybe do 30, 40, 50 minutes of putting here and do some streaming, see how it goes. See if we can't roll on a nice streak. That's 2 in a row. Three in a row, right down Broadway here to get started this practice session. Nice 4 for 4 to start. The record's 47, so we've got a ways to go. But you got to make 4 before you can make 5. Trying to have a little more height in my posture just to clean up some of the lines. Nice 5. And after 5, we'll try to make 6. Success. Still focused on the transition, trying to keep that nice and smooth. Still clean. Make that 7 in a row. Oh no, started trying to steer it, and that's where that streak will end. See, it's tough. I mean, we're aiming for 90%, so, you know, a streak of 47, I think that's going to be tough to beat. But that's what we're here for. We're just trying to get a little better, make some incremental improvement, build our skills. We did it twice in a row, so now we've got a pattern emerging on that right side. Ian asks, what's my handicap? 0.5 at the moment. But that's mostly from some high scores at the end of last year. We started last year at plus 1.2. There we go. And yeah, had a torn meniscus at the end of the summer last year, so it wasn't. We were playing a lot of scrappy golf, but I shouldn't complain. 0.5 is still fine. But goal for this year is to get better than plus 2, and some of that is, starting this channel and feeling like, wow, I actually have an incentive to practice more and put more time into my game. Ian says that's very good. Thanks, Ian. I appreciate that. So yeah, really trying to have a renewed commitment to my practice and hopefully start translating it into some good tournament golf, qualifying for some things. So we'll see how the summer goes. But it feels like the nice weather's right around the corner, so a lot to be excited about. Just like shooting free throws in an empty gym, right? You're not going to get a pat on the back for it, but you'll be glad you did it when it's crunch time. Just got to make sure we're releasing it. Keep that path moving to the left. It's been a little bit of the miss recently, is just getting the path going out to the right there. Kevin asks, you ever drop trout and take a piping hot deuce in the backyard? I haven't done that one yet, Kev, but it's you can put it on the list. Bucket list, if you will. But we don't kink shame on this channel, Kevin. If that's what you're into, more power to you, dude. Ian asks, what's the favorite course you have played? Oh, it's such a good question. I've played a ton of good ones. So hard to pick a favorite, because some are like incredible golf courses where I, like didn't play great, or but I've had spectacular rounds at, some cool courses. If I had to really pick one for just like an all the way around experience, it's probably Butler National in Chicago. Just a really, really special place to be able to play golf. But I've been lucky. I've played at a lot of cool places. The ones that I haven't played yet that I want to, I feel like Pebble's really close to the top of the list. I haven't played out there yet. Pine Valley, I'd love to play. Augusta, obviously, but I mean, I feel like that's on everybody's list for want to play. Kevin says, hell yeah, with a thumbs up. Hell yeah, Kevin. Shout out Kevin for bringing the heat with the questions tonight. Pine Valley is more exclusive than Augusta. Oh, no doubt. Yeah, there's plenty of exclusive, amazing golf out there. I just, we all know that golf course so well, right? Like, you watch it for 4 days every April for 20 or 30 years. You learn where the slopes are and, where the trouble lies and, what the good lines off the tees are. So I think that it would just be a bucket list kind of course. Not that it's, the most exclusive or the most special. Oh, just shoving it out there. The country club in Brookline is amazing. Love playing out there. I'm trying to think where else there could be like a kind of really special one. Who else is in here? Kev's Rev C says golf sucks. Well, it seems like a weird place to be commenting then, since that is what the whole channel is about. Um, Ian asks, you ever tried changing your grip when practicing putts rather than traditional grip? Yeah, I've tried everything. Putting has been like the thing that's held me back in my golf my whole life. Like when I had Arcos, I was like a +3 driving, +1 or 2 irons and wedges. Short game was, pretty solid too. And then my putting was like I putted like a 5. Um, so I spent a lot of time in the last 6 months working on that. Part of that was, not being able to walk or swing when my knee was being rehabbed. So I'm optimistic that we've made a lot of improvements there. But yeah, I've tried it all. I tried the broomstick, tried the lab putter. So yeah, I think it's a great idea to try different things. See what works for you. Golf is so personal. Libertarian said, "Okay, Kevs, dealer BS, you're awesome for what you do. Keep it up. I hope you change people's days around. You help me feel amazing. Thanks for the live. You really helped me though through this rough moment." Wow, that's amazing. Thank you for saying that, dealer BS. That was kind of the goal of trying to create a space that was just cool and to hang out and share some positivity or a laugh or a quick smile or oh, I've had that moment too. Something that we share as golfers, because there's so much in golf that's relatable to life and things we can take away from it. So yeah, that comment means a lot to me. Thanks for saying that. Another Kevin, but this one loves golf. Hell yeah, Kevin. If you guys are enjoying the stream, you want to drop a like or a comment, feel free. We're just hanging out for the next hour or so, hitting some putts. Debriefing after yesterday's insane Sunday at the Masters. Dealer says, you're on your grind. You got this. Don't let the haters get to you. Just keep going forward. Yeah, that's the idea. I think you guys have a pretty good sense after enough live streams now that the chat kind of self-polices itself, which is great. That's a dream. And it's not a democratic space, right? Like if someone's going to come in and say nonsense or hateful stuff, you just get rid of them. Like it's not, it's my space of control, and I'm going to make it, cool and chill, and free of all the negative stuff. So I appreciate you guys supporting in that. Ian asks, who is my pick for the Masters? I was rooting for Bryson. Yeah, Bryson was my pick on Wednesday night. I posted a video saying he was my pick. And I felt good about it. He seemed like he was playing great. And he did play great, right? Sunday's just so tough. And, to go out and perform 4 days in a row like Rory did, so impressive. And I feel pretty confident saying that Bryson will continue to contend at the Masters for the next decade or so, right? As long as he stays healthy, simply because his game sets up so well for that golf course. If his short game gets a little better, if he hits those, if his bad chip is 4.5, 5 feet instead of 9 or 10 or 11 feet, I think that'll really, just push him over the edge. Colby Bryan asks, how can I determine my handicap? Great question, Colby. So you start out by creating an account with the USGA and then, your local state golf association. Usually it's through a member club, right? A golf course or a country club. Although most of them now have, online only memberships. And it costs about $50 if you want to have an official USGA handicap. If you don't want to do that, there's plenty of free apps, I think 18 Birdies and Grint and a few of these other ones. You input your scores, and then it just has a formula that tells you what your handicap is, right? And that's, your best 8 scores out of your last 20 are the ones that count for your handicap. And then the idea that you'll start to learn about as you start posting scores and improving your game is what's called the differential, right? And that's, again, just a calculation, based on a couple metrics about how the course is rated, right? I mean, how hard it is. And its slope, which again is just a different version of how difficult the course is. And, so that's why, you could shoot, if you play at Bethpage Black, the course rating from the back tees is 79, I think. So if you shoot a 79, which is 7 over par, your differential could be 0, right? Despite the fact that you were so over par. And conversely, if you played from the forward tees at a pretty easy golf course, the scratch rating could be like 66, right? So Colby, Bethpage Black is the host of the Ryder Cup this upcoming year on Long Island in New York. They've had the U.S. Open there a handful of times. It's a public golf course in the state of New York, which is awesome. That it also is, capable of being a major championship venue. So it's open to the public. I played it a couple times. Super cool golf course. So yeah, that was just a reference point that I had close to mind. Sorry for confusing you. But yeah, so that's the idea with the handicap. And then, as you start to post your scores and track your game, you'll get a sense of how it moves up and down over time, and the scores that drop out versus the ones that are counting. So that sort of thing. Colby says, "Thanks. I'm newish to golf, but getting more into it." Yeah, that's awesome. Golf's an amazing, game that you can play for a lifetime. So, and you can, enjoy it with varying degrees of intensity for over a long period of time. Right. When I was early in my career and just out of school, I didn't play much golf at all. I still had that affinity for it, but there just wasn't time. I still had the skills, and I think, if I could tell my younger self, like, hey, manage your expectations. I mean, if you're not practicing and playing, you can't just go out and pretend like you're still going to be as good as you were. But and to then now be at a point in my life where I'm doing something different and in a different place, and have much more time to commit to my game, and really energized by having this channel and doing these live streams with you guys. So you can turn the intensity up and down. Teasing Bender says you're 35 years old. No, not yet. Not quite. Knock a bunch off of that, but Colby says I'm generally 15 to 25 over at my local courses. Yeah, so that's a perfectly normal range to be scoring in if you're newish to golf. But yeah, it's a good, if you want to have a sense of what your handicap would look like, one of those free apps, could certainly do it. Or you could, most of my friends and the people I play golf with do maintain a handicap through the USGA, which you also need eventually down the road for tournaments and signing up for different things. So there is a benefit to having it, but there are certainly free options available. Or not for nothing, I'm sure there are free like Google Sheets or Excel based calculators where you could just put in your scores with the slope and the rating, and it would tell you that way as well. So hopefully that helps. You guys enjoy the action yesterday? I mean, I was glad Rory pulled it out, because I would have just been so gutted for him, if he had not gotten the job done, to have had it almost in the bag. It felt like, making the turn. They're playing the montage, right? They're like, giving him the crown already. 13, the ball stays out of the water. 11, which felt like the moment of like, wow, this is really going to happen. Like in past years, that ball's wet and he's making double, and posting like a 76 and maybe gets a backdoor top 10 with a birdie on 18. But to then make it all the way to 13 and rinse that ball and make 7 was just so confusing. Like, I'm sure that the majority of the people in this chat could with at least a swing or two hit the ball on the green from 85 yards, and it was just shocking to feel like, oh my god, here we go again. To then 15 hits an unbelievable shot to 6 feet for eagle. Can't roll the putt in. It's a great shot at 16, but can't roll the putt in. Unbelievable shot at 17 to make birdie. And then 18, you're like, oh, here it is, just done deal. He's got a gap wedge, hit it on the green. No big deal, 2-putt, right? Hit it, you got a backstop, like driving range gap wedge, in the middle of the green, and two putt, put your green jacket on, and he just wipes it in the bunker, hits a pretty good bunker shot, and then, I think we all knew that 5-footer wasn't going to go down. Like, it felt like the gas, was out after the shot from the fairway. And to then see him, hit an unbelievable wedge on the same hole from like basically the same spot in the fairway. And to not only to hit that shot, but to hit the tee shot where he did after, making bogey to even be in the playoff. I mean, just the perseverance, I give him so much credit. To really just like take his punches. I mean, definitely did not make it easy on himself. Like, probably needs an extended session with the sports psychologist. But yeah, unbelievable day. I was fortunate enough to spend the day with my college golf teammates, who most of us are still pretty close by and get together, play golf regularly, and so that was great. And it's such a special day. The highest of holy days if your religion is golf. Let me catch up here really quick. Colby says, my short game is worse than DeChambeau's. Mine too. Yep, he is an world-class golfer. Hi from Korea. Hello. Nice to see you. Douchebaggy says, putt, putt, putt. That is what we're doing. We're working on some short ones, trying to start them online. Josh says that 7-iron from 207 having to draw around the trees. That was a crazy shot from Rory. I agree. Yeah, I mean, that was the moment. I do think, though, it's so telling, like, when he needs to put his foot on the gas and hit a great shot, he's able to do it, right? It's when he, like on 13, he starts playing, unlike himself, where he's like, oh, I'll just, I'll lay up. He doesn't lay up on 13. I thought even that, he should have hit driver there. Like, it's the best club in his bag. He talks about it all the time. Favorite club, loves to hit it. And I get it. You're up by 4. But play the way they got you there. That's my opinion. I know it's so hard to do, right? You've got a big lead in a huge tournament that you've wanted to win forever. You give him a 100 golf balls to hit that 85-yard shot over again. He's not going to hit a single one in the water. But pressure and adrenaline does crazy things. Colby says, I'm usually the ball we play off the tee playing shotgun, but can't chip or putt to save my life without being completely lucky. Yeah, that's been the story of my golfing life for a long time. Hit the ball great, decent short game, but just the putting held me back for so long. So, like I said earlier, pretty optimistic that all this practice will pay off, and there's been a lot of good signs early in the season already that it has. So, once the weather starts getting nicer and we're able to practice on grass a lot more, be good to see, see the results of all the hard work. I'm enjoying a Heineken Zero. This is nice that it's alcohol-free, 0.0, and still tastes pretty decent. Ian says, shout out to Rose. He's an incredible golfer. Isn't a household name like some of the other players in the top 10. Yeah, I think, for certainly lesser known among more casual golf fans or new golf fans. But really, solid career, major winner. Played in Ryder Cups, really respectable career. And he's been close to winning this tournament before, right? He lost out to Sergio when Sergio won in that playoff. And if we know one thing about Augusta, it's, guys who are in their mid to late 40s, right, on the tail end of the career, can still contend. Because, of course, knowledge is so valuable. and you don't have to be super, super long. So yeah, no, Rosie played great. Yeah, I think he's such a class act too, right? Like he knew everybody wanted Rory to win, and I'm sure he's gutted. I mean, it's so hard to be that close and play great on Sunday. And I think just says a lot about him as a person to let Rory have his moment and to say all the right things. And I'm sure he was disappointed, but yeah, give him a ton of credit. Colby asks, "Is this how you fixed it, or are you currently fixing it?" Both. Yeah. I think I'm always in the process of fixing it, but this drill station here has been tremendously helpful for me to just feel like I have confidence and I've built a stroke now that I'm not just really guessing, right? I know that if I make the stroke that I've trained myself to make, I should start the ball on my line, right? With a pretty high degree of confidence, with an end over end roll, and if I read the putt correctly, I should give myself a decent chance of making a lot of putts. So this, has the arc trainer underneath it. There's also, they have the physical version, right, which to really create a gate, a barrier, for where your putter will go. Combined with the Pels tutor here, right, that creates a gate with the ball bearings. So I know, excuse me, I know I'm starting the ball on my intended line, and I get the visual feedback of, did my putter stay in this arc, right? So my peripheral vision, that's what I've trained myself to say, okay, that's right on line, on path. And if I do that and I, deliver the putter face squarely into the ball, it should both, roll nicely and start where I want it to start. So it's great too for diagnosing things, right? If you start missing a bunch of putts and you're like, is it because I'm misreading it? Am I not hitting my line? So you get back in here and you're like, oh, my path got a little bit out to the right. I'm just, I'm clanging every putt off of this right gate, ball bearing. It's a great way to try to diagnose and then, improve, some mechanical stuff. So I've really been enjoying, the practice with this. And like I said earlier, it really does feel like I'm just in the gym shooting free throws, right? This is just, muscle memory. It's not fun to miss 5-footers. Right. And what I've learned that's really encouraging is, because of the functional training with the gate, sometimes I'll take the putter back and be like, oh, that was so outside, right? Like, or it's really inside, right? Not every stroke is going to be your best stroke, but I've also developed the skill of rolling the ball through the gate. So I don't have to make a perfect stroke to achieve the goal, which is really encouraging and translates nicely to being on the golf course when, some days you warm up and you're like, man, this does not feel right. Like I'm not hitting the ball out of the center of the putter. But I can lean on the fact that I've done a ton of reps in here to say, well, that might be true, right? Your stroke might not feel great. You might, have gotten things a little out of whack, but you've trained yourself to start the ball where you want to. So I've been really encouraged so far by the results, and it's a pretty easy drill station to set up. So try it out. Come back, tell me what you think. Colby says, just watch the shot from 207 right after DeChambeau splashes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was just such a pivotal moment in the tournament. Does it overlay on any putting green? Yeah, exactly. This is, it goes in this little case here, actually. This just rolls up, goes in a golf bag. And you can bring this to the golf course. You can bring it to your practice facility. I have it set up, obviously, this is just a $25 no-name putting mat, right, in my little, golf corner here. And that's just kind of for the visual and the positive reinforcement of seeing the ball go in the hole. But really, all the work's being done back here, right? I'm training my stroke mechanically, and I'm functionally learning to start the ball, and hit it through the gate. right? And you can see, that line rolling end over end. Let's set one up here so you can see. So if I make a good stroke, which that one wasn't, but you see, I missed the gate. Ball rolled pretty nicely and it went in. So I've been a huge fan of this drill setup. Colby says, didn't realize they changed the cup placement from day to day during the Masters. Yeah, that's one of the cool parts, right? Is as you start to see the tournament year after year, you'll learn like, oh wow, that pin there on number 4 is right over a ridge. That's like going to be a tough one. Or like yesterday, they moved the traditional Sunday pin on 16 that's usually kind of middle left inside that bowl, up on top to the right there. So yeah, the moving of the cups around the greens is pretty interesting. This is called a Pell's Tutor, and the mat underneath it is a well putt, well stroke mat. I also have the well putt, these training aids that are like a physical gate you could set up, right? And it's on an arc, so you'd aim that wherever you want to aim, and then you'd get in there with your putter, and this will teach you, right? Like if I'm picking it up and taking it out to the outside, I'm going to hit that gate. And you can obviously make this as narrow or as wide to scale it up for your skill level. So if you're just getting started, you might give yourself a little more room to say like, all right, I just want to kind of get a feel for what my body needs to do in order to keep that putter inside the barrier here. So these are all good tools that I've found. I should really find a way to work with these guys. I love talking about the products and trying to improve my own technique primarily, but then also it's been cool sharing some of that knowledge with you guys, and we're all on the same journey together trying to get better. Yeah, Pelz, P-E-L-Z, named after Dave Pelz, who's a well-known professional instructor and short game kind of guru guy. P-E-L-Z. And Well Putt, W-E-L-L-P-U-T-T. And yeah, all this stuff, I mean, you can pack up pretty easily, bring to the golf course with you. Those gates that I just had out have little holes for the T-pegs to hold them in place. So once you get the drill station set up, you can use that, consistently. One thing I like to tell people, if you're going to be putting on the green, a real green for a long time, good idea to put a towel down under your feet just to kind of help spread out your weight, and you're not going to, really wear out those footprints. The greenskeepers will be grateful that you did. Colby says he's going to check it out. Very cool. Yeah, if you guys are enjoying the stream, hanging out, learning something, you want to hit that subscribe button, you want to drop a like. I'm super grateful for all the support. It's been pretty crazy. I think we're just past 90 days since we posted our first video, and I think tomorrow we'll hit 1 million views on the channel in less than 100 days. So that's really fun, and I've been, again, just blown away by the level of support and the nice comments and people coming back, for multiple streams, 4, 5, 6 times, just to say, hey, still love what you're doing. That's the best part of having started doing this. So, like I said, super grateful for all the support. And come back tomorrow, find out if we hit 1 million. I know in the world of you know, Mr. Beast. A million views isn't all that much, but again, just completely mind blowing for me. Colby says, "What do you think of McIlroy not talking to DeChambeau on the final day?" And I'm on the East Coast. I think, I mean, Rory had a job to do, and he's at work, and he was, focused on the task he had to do. Can't say I blame him for not being like, check out the forecast for tomorrow. You're like, how's it looking? I'm sure it required every amount of energy he had to just, try and stay focused and present. Again, I wasn't there. If he was like being rude, then, maybe he was being rude. But I also think, 15 years ago, we would have been like, man, isn't it cool how like focused and crazy Tiger is? Like he doesn't talk to his competitors, and we love that he's just, like it has that killer instinct. And then Rory does it, and everyone's like, "Oh, is he being mean to Bryson?" Like, I don't know. I think also if I would say something else about this, the fact that Bryson had to then go talk to those guys like 2.5 minutes after he signed for a 3 over par 75, it's Sunday at the Masters, after 2 holes having led the tournament, yeah, of course he probably wasn't going to be like, man, wasn't that so much fun? Like, that was probably super draining and hard for Bryson. So I think he did a good job handling it as calmly as he did to be like, yeah, like, it was all business out there. He made it clear that we weren't there to chat. And, I think like giving these guys an hour or 2 hours to chill out and like, get hydrated and sit down before they're like, let's put 17 microphones in your face. That seems like a good idea to me. And I think there's good precedent in other professional sports for that. But I mean, yeah, it seems very silly to me to be like, wow, why isn't Bryson in a better mood? Like he just shot 75 on Sunday at the Masters and, hit it in the water a bunch. Like I wouldn't be in a fantastic mood either. And yet because he's, an athlete, like he has to be held to a different standard. I just don't think any of us, if someone's like, hey, you just had like a really awful day at work. Do you want to go answer a bunch of questions about it? By people who, can't do the job even if they wanted to, who are then going to go, talk about it and write about it. Like, give them an hour to chill out. So you can see this is a great way to kind of diagnose. Earlier, we started missing a little bit to the right. We seem to really have dialed that in here. That's why the media made something of it. Yeah, I agree with that comment. Colby said, good point. Stacy says, nice cactus. Thanks. I've had this guy probably 3 years, 4 years now. He's doing great. Seems very happy. Or she. Could be a she. It's funny you mentioned the cactus. Some guy was in here one time being like, I'll sub if you jump on the cactus. And I was like, I don't think that's My price is certainly higher than that to jump on that guy. I mean, he's got me before. That's a or she. I mean, she's prickly. She's a cactus. I mean, that's what they do. Colby said, "Are you excited for Happy Gilmore 2?" I'm glad you asked that because it's probably the most excited I've been for a movie to come out in a really long time. Where I'm actually like, oh, like I'm gonna, probably try and go see this maybe when it comes out, just because the Full Swing preview really got me. Like, oh, they actually got real golfers to be in the movie. So I think, it'd be super cool to see Rory and Scotty, some of those guys in Happy Gilmore too. Not my best stroke, but you can see we still managed to successfully navigate the drill. Let's see how we're rolling it. The line on the ball is a great indicator of, is it rolling end over end? And just like that, that's what we hope to see that line kind of just rolling over the top of itself. If you see it start to wiggle, right, or look like it's kind of on an angle, that means there's maybe some side spin or the ball hasn't been launched, exactly the way you'd hope to. So again, that's just a simple, you get a Sharpie, you draw a straight line on the golf ball, and you can start to train yourself even without any of this, right? Just with a line. Say, did I roll it end over end? And that's an important skill to start to develop. Yeah, Happy Gilmore 2 coming out soon. Oh, Colby tells me it's just going to be on Netflix. Well, you learn something new every day. Thanks, Colby. And Andrew says it's going to be awesome. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be really good. I think they've done a nice job with some of these remakes or the sequels. Like I thought Top Gun 2, they did a really nice job, kind of not ruining it. Right? It had the nostalgic moments, but the movie itself was also that was a really bad stroke. But the movie itself was also pretty decent and had some good plot points. So I'm really optimistic for Happy Gilmore 2 to see what they do with it. Plus, I mean, it's Adam Sandler, right? He's a genius. How bad could it be? It's important to stay hydrated. Don't forget. I had a good reminder recently. I played 18 holes a week ago, and I missed every putt from 5 to 10 feet. Like truly, I missed every single one. And a bunch of them were for birdie, and I just was like, man, I really could have had a decent round if I had made some of these putts. And I had the moment of like, some days are still going to be like that. I mean, just because the result wasn't there doesn't mean that the work isn't time well spent, right? I mean, if I look back, I watch all the video, like a bunch of those putts missed by fractions of inches, and I used to miss putts like that by a foot, 2 feet, right? So I know that the improvement is there, even if the balls aren't going in the hole on any given day, right? That's just the volatility of golf. The time is so well spent. Andrew asks, you remember Punch Drunk Love? I don't remember that one, no. Colby says, $40 well worth a Pels trainer. Yeah, I've had mine for a while, so that sounds about right though. And again, you don't need to spend money. You can. I just like that it's portable and it's a scalable drill, right? So if you're just getting started, you can move the bearings out a bit, and you can bring it with you to the golf course. But of course, you can do this with anything. You can just make a gate. You could use some other golf balls, right? And say, I'm going to teach myself to roll it through the gate. And if I miss, if I hit it out to the right, I'm going to hit the gate. So don't feel like you have to spend money to work on this skill. But I do think it is, there are some benefits. Oh, some benefits like you learn when you block one out to the right and you have no chance of making the putt, right? Look at us. Look at us rolling the rock. Been really focused too on after I miss, trying to really use that as like a red flag, walk it back in, right? I almost as a corollary on the golf course for the bogey train, right? Like you just want to stay off the bogey train because mentally it can be just so easy to get caught in that trap of like, oh, here we go again. The Black Michael Jackson says hi, and this is Joshua Kelly, by the way. Hey, JK. Oh, Sandler's worst movie ever. Okay, well, the fact that we've never heard about it probably is telling us something. I might have to check it out because if you're saying it's his worst ever, I mean, there can be something funny in tragedy. If the movie is that tragic. Darn. Darn. Missed again. Let me catch up here quickly. Colby says, I love bargains. That idea is a bargain. If I didn't jack up my back this morning, I'd be doing the same thing. Yeah, I've had really debilitating back issues myself, and I can certainly commiserate as to how brutal that can be. So hopefully hopefully you can able to stretch it out. Heating pad is my best advice. I tell everybody, if you have a bad back, you got to have a heating pad in the house. So that thing will save you. Laserbeam says, if you crack an egg on your head, I'll give you $500. I don't know if that's enough. But it's an interesting first offer. And in this economy, I don't know if, one egg, eventually that could be worth thousands, right? The way things are going. The crazy thing is, only swiped once on my For You page and saw you. Oh, very cool. That's awesome. I think that your algorithm is dialed in. It's like, hey, I know exactly what you need right now. Here we go. When my stroke starts to feel just a little funky, or like now where, I've been up here for 45 minutes or so, maybe almost more, and start to feel a little tightness in the back and tired, and I just go back to tempo, right? Just trying to feel that really slow change of direction, almost like the club just hangs at the top of the stroke for a fraction of a second, right? Like it's going in slow motion almost at the top. And you'd be surprised at how much that really just will iron things out and help you dial in that feel to deliver the putter, the way you need to. It's a tie. I've been fire and ice all day. That's funny. Stop capping. You need to order that one. Oh, I think he means water. He means water the one plant. No, this one just grows this way. It's like a vine, and it just grows down. The one behind it does need some water, though. I agree with you. You know what, actually? We're going to just do it live. This was the water I was going to drink, but the plant's going to drink it instead. So, shout out to JK for keeping the plants in the office well hydrated. And you know what? Even some for the cactus, too. She doesn't need it very often, but... And then some for me, because we're all carbon-based life forms here. Got to stay hydrated. Colby says, "Save the plants." Yeah, we're doing it. We're making sure there's no plants left behind. Heard once, there's almost a rhythm in your head when playing. Agree or disagree? Yeah, I think some of my best golf has been, when you find a song you really like, or you just get in that rhythm of walking with, a good friend or a competitor who's, you're on the same page with. Yeah, I definitely think there's something to that. And for me, it's a great way to keep my mind occupied. I've actually been finding that since I've started filming myself play golf, that has actually, I think, helped, because I tend to, overthink things, right? I could hit the punch 7 or the hard, or the hard 8, right? I could hit 3 different shots here in this one chip that like really only is just pretty straightforward. So it's helped me, because my mind is somewhat occupied about like, well, did I press record? Did I put the camera in the right place? Did I lose the microphone dongle? So having something to kind of occupy myself that isn't just, like what could go wrong in this next shot, I think has actually been helpful. And it's a great reminder, Colby, like finding that rhythm and that song or whatever it is can be so helpful. So there's certainly something to that. And I mean, there's a lot of guys who will talk about they practice with a metronome, right? So they'll just have, a repetitive sound that tries to, gives them another thing to remember, or, way to ingrain that kind of tempo. It's not something that I've tried, but maybe I should. Maybe we'll do metronome training on the next live stream. How's that sound? Just see what the fuss is all about. Oh, maybe a little too much tempo there. Just held the face off. But no, there's no such thing as too much tempo. Otherwise, Freddie Couples would be in trouble. There it is. Back on track. Like I said, just locking in after a miss. Staying off the bogey train. Love to see it. You love to see it. Ha. JK, I love it. Pump up the stream. 19 people and only 11 likes. I mean, 11 likes is amazing. That means 11 people were like, hey, this is pretty cool. But yeah, the only thing better than 11 would be 12. And if this is your first time on the stream and you're enjoying hanging out, you want to hit subscribe and, get notified when we're doing this. It can be a little sporadic, but, hoping to do more of the streams, and still finding a way to post a bunch of shorts and do some practice, even with a bunch of stuff going on. So you guys can thank my wife for being so supportive of my YouTube venture and my golf game. So shout out to my wife. Otherwise, you got to have support. Colby says, already subscribed. Amazing. Shout out to Colby. Already subscribed. Black Michael Jackson, JK says, can you sing for us? I definitely could. I definitely could. I'm not gonna, but I definitely could. Like, there is no one stopping me. I mean, no one. I could start singing right now. And, oh, well, other than my wife in the other room, she might try to stop me. But no, I think I could fully get away with it. But no, I don't think I'm going to do that tonight. Speaking of microphone dongles, was able to find the one for this guy, so hopefully it's a little better than the last couple attempts we did to stream. See, that's the one that just gets a little away from me, and I don't know why. Oh. Oops. Guys, we're going to get 1,000 subscribers before you know it. So if you want an OG ticket, I mean, I don't make the rules, but I think, well, somebody will tell me. I think you would get an OG ticket if you're in the first 1,000. Because I think after 1,000, it's going to start to grow pretty quick. It's going to start to grow pretty quick. JK says, I need a GoPro ASAP. I had a GoPro years and years ago, and I thought I would use it for more golf stuff. And I just never quite got it. I mean, that was a different time, though. I mean, we were talking... There were no micro SD cards. I think we're talking like GoPro 3. You know what's crazy and pretty cool is all the content that you guys have seen on the entire channel. Well, number one has been, edited and shot by me for the most part, but also has been shot on an iPhone. So if you're like, hey, this could be cool. Like maybe I would make some videos or, do something. I didn't really spend a ton of money getting started. I got, a cheap microphone and plugged it into my phone, started shooting, started posting. And I think that's always been my, approach, right? Is if you're interested in something, you just got to start doing it. Haha, Colby says that's why the quality is potato. It definitely is sometimes. There's definitely some times where I'm like, once we have the resources and the growth to justify, spending some money and learning, new skills with cameras and stuff, that would be fun. But Colby also says, aren't wives the best? Mine bought me my first real set. Not gonna lie, I prefer some of the irons I picked up from Goodwill over the ones in the set. Yeah, I mean, I think that's everybody has those clubs. They have, maybe it's you hit a bunch of great shots with it, or just a really reliable club. I think we all have had those over the years, so I think that's pretty normal. It's okay, Colby. We can still be friends even if you're a green bubble text guy. He said Samsung for life, which, again, I think personal preference is what it is, but I'm a make it easy. I don't need fancy features kind of guy. But I know the hardware can be better, right? The cameras are pretty good, and maybe we're all just infected with Apple, marketing or whatever, but it does seem to work. All right, we are really getting the ball into the hole now. Yeah, I'm with you. I know JK is right. about the phone hardware, but I wonder if I could get one that like wasn't, didn't have like a mobile plan on it, but just had a great camera and you could use it for shooting stuff. You know what I should start doing? I could do the I don't know if it was Michael Jordan or Steph who I'm thinking of, but whoever it is that shoots free throws blindfolded, you could just try and get in here and you can close your eyes. You guys will have to trust me. Oh, see, no shot. But maybe something to work on. Who knows? Maybe you know how Jordan Spieth looks at the hole on the short putts? Maybe under pressure, if I really get good at it, I'll just be like, you know what? I'm going to close my eyes. Wow, we did it. That was electric. To in the darkness, hit that putt and then not hear the ball bearing go. That's 2 out of 3. Oh, we did it again. I think that means we're really on to something. I didn't know that about iPhone. That makes sense, though. See, you learn something new every day. Shout out to Colby for educating not just me, but the whole chat. And then Sean Kerr said, why are computers good at golf? Because they have hard drives. That's an awesome dad joke. I'm really into it. Shout out to Sean. I haven't heard that one. Why are laptops like Patrick Reed? Because they fold easily. Shout out to CBS for doing everything they possibly could to show as little of Patrick Reed playing golf yesterday as possible. I think they really did a strong job. See you, Colby. Shout out, Colby. Thanks for hanging out, being on the stream, chatting. Sean said, oh. Two out of 3 with our eyes closed. That was pretty electric. We might have to do some more practice, like with a real blindfold, to try and do some more of that, because I'll tell you what, 2 out of 3 getting, not hearing that gate ring. That was fun. That was fun for me. I'd like to do it again. I'm gonna try to keep my my back functional here for another few minutes. Maybe hit one more set of putts. Here we go, 1 for 1. Goals 10 for 10. You know what? We're gonna do full process. Same process, same routine. There we go. So these last 9, I should say, focus on execution, right? So kind of full. My process is, once I have my line and my read, it's just two strokes, trying to get a feel for the pace. I'm looking at the target. Same process, same routine every time. Here we go. And I will say the hover, I've started hovering the putter, right? So right before I take it back, just lifting it off the ground ever so slightly. That's made a huge difference for me. And I think, I wish that's something I'd incorporated sooner, but takes all the tension out such that, that, when you're feeling that pace, how hard you want to hit the ball, you're feeling the level of weight and tension that you're going to feel during the stroke. Whereas if it's resting on the ground and then you start back, then your body's reacting to how it feels. And when I heard it explained that way, it made a ton of sense to me. So been a big fan of doing that. Same process, same routine. Love to see it. You love to see it. Here we go. Same process, same routine. There we go. Perfect so far. Perfect so far. Okay. Same process, same routine. There we go. 4 more. 6 for 6 so far in execution. Same process, same routine. There it is. There it is. A win for the ages. All right, guys, 3 more high pressure putts. If you're enjoying hanging out, you want to see more of this, get noties on the live stream or check out the shorts, feel free to hit that free 99 subscribe button. Love it. 2 more. Here we go. Same process, same routine. There we go. All right, 1 more. Same process. Boom, look at that. 10 for 10. Clean through the gate. Absolutely nailed it. Free 99 is crazy. Yeah, I don't make the price, JK. They just tell us what it is. Oh, that was electric. 10 for 10 on, full execution, going through the process. Great to see the ball going in the hole. You guys enjoyed the live stream? Last chance to drop a like. Drop a comment. Say hi. But we'll see you guys soon. You know what we say, swing hard always.